Meanwhile, hundreds of Armenian-Australians have travelled from around the country to gather in Canberra today, protesting against the ethnic cleansing in that disputed territory after Azerbaijan seized back control. Joining me now live for more on this is Vache Kahramanian, chairman of the Armenian National Committee of Australia. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. What's your message in Canberra today?
Thank you for having me. Today, the Armenian-Australian community gathers in Canberra to protest against not only the Azerbaijani and Turkish embassies, but also calls on the American and Russian governments to do more on the ground. We've now seen the systematic ethnic cleansing of 120,000 people from the Republic of Nagorno Karabakh at the hands of a brutal Azeri authority, and the community gathers in solidarity today to raise awareness of the plight of these individuals.
For those of us who don't know what's going on in that disputed region, can you explain to us what the situation is at the moment?
Certainly. Last week, Azerbaijan launched a military offensive against the Republic of Nagorno Karabakh, an independent, tiny republic in the South Caucasus with an indigenous Armenian population of 120,000 people. As a result of that campaign and the threats of ethnic cleansing, over 100,000 Armenians have now fled as refugees into the Republic of Armenia, where they face hunger, starvation, lack of medical supplies, lack of treatment. This is coupled with a 10-month-long blockade that Azerbaijan imposed, where these people had no access to any form of humanitarian assistance over the last 10 months.
So you're gathering today in Canberra, as you mentioned. What can Australia do to help the situation?
Australia needs to do many things currently. It needs to firstly join with its international allies, including the United States, including Great Britain, in delivering urgent humanitarian assistance through the International Red Cross, who is doing tremendous work on the ground at the moment, looking after refugees. Australia also needs to call out Azerbaijan for this aggression. It took far too long for Australia to raise its voice, and today it needs to look at itself in the mirror as the bastion of a country who champions human rights around the world, to also call out Azerbaijan for its ethnic cleansing of 120,000 people in the 21st century.
So you're calling on the government just to, the humanitarian side, but are you also asking them to do more to call out Azerbaijan? What in particular?
Australia should look at implementing sanctions against Azerbaijan. We know that Azerbaijan has significant investments here in Australia, and Australia should be looking at ways of diversifying those investments to hold Azerbaijan accountable, to not allow an authoritarian regime to carry out such aggression towards a civilian population. We've seen this time and time again, and unfortunately, Australia has sat on the sidelines, has not engaged, has not activated, but today it has a very clear opportunity to stand up on the right side of history.
Has aid been able to travel to that disputed region and get to those people who need it the most at the moment?
It has. Only last week, a delegation of parliamentarians from the New South Wales and Victorian parliaments were present on the ground, witnessing firsthand this humanitarian catastrophe unfold. From Australia, there was significant aid on behalf of the community that has already been delivered through the Armenian Relief Society of Australia, providing essential goods on the ground. As you would appreciate, we're entering the winter months in the Northern Hemisphere, and people are now homeless. They don't have blankets, they don't have clothing. So every bit of humanitarian assistance that can go needs to be on the ground today, and we call on Australia to also lend its hand, as it has done numerous times around the world, to 120,000 displaced people in the Republic of Armenia today.
And just confirming, what sort of humanitarian aid are you calling for in particular?
Australia can contribute to the International Red Cross's appeal, where the Red Cross on the ground is providing everything from tent housing to food to blankets to emergency medical supplies. For 10 months, these people have had access to nothing due to the blockade imposed by Azerbaijan. Today, the International Red Cross, along with numerous organisations who are operating on the ground are trying their utmost to deliver aid to these 120,000 people who have left their homes with nothing but the shirts on their back.
A very difficult situation. Vache, thank you very much for joining us and bringing us up to date this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.